Hello and welcome to the Candid Cashflow Podcast, episode 30. I'm your host, Ava Fales. Cash Flowers, episode 30. So I promised an update. In episode 10 of the Candid Cashflow podcast, I discussed how we were doing with numbers wise, and it surely wasn't anything staggering as we were just barely getting started. Full disclosure, it's still not staggering. I remember seeing a guy who started about the same time I did. It was getting like 50,000 downloads per episode or, something like that. In my defense, he had a significant audience when he began from his other online endeavors. We, of course, did not. I find making such comparisons exhausting, unnecessary, and pretty much side hustle suicide. So let's stick to the CCP facts. We have put out a new episode every Wednesday for 29 weeks except one. Libsyn says we've had a total of 1,404 downloads since we started. There are more because we're on a lot of different platforms where the stats are separate from these. If you're interested in learning how to get your podcast pretty much everywhere, I actually have been working on a report that gives you instructions for getting places like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and so many more. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it when we release that information. The bottom line is that I really don't sweat the stats too much. I'm having a great time doing this, and it helps me create consistent content for my blog. That's right, there's a corresponding blog post for each episode of the Candid Cashflow podcast. So if reading is more your thing, that's an option that's available to you. The archives are located at heyoava.com/candidarchives. So let's talk about selling shovels. In 1848, gold was discovered in California. It was thought that there was enough gold that all of California couldn't dig it out in 50 years' time. We're all aware of the rush that followed because it's still legend to this day, and it seems every subsequent bubble suffers its comparison. A fellow named Samuel Brannan strategically opened his store in Sutter's Fort, now present-day Sacramento, and it just happened to be the last stop between the town and the gold fields. Samuel made it his business to buy every pick, shovel, and pan he could find and sell them from his store. He paid 20 cents for a pan and sold them for $15 each. That was a crazy amount of money in 1848. Samuel ended up making $150,000 per month throughout 1849 and became California's first millionaire. He then used the money for other ventures, mostly real estate, but there is a valuable lesson we can learn from Mr. Brannan. While everyone else was doing whatever it took to mine for gold so they could get rich quick, Samuel merely sold them the tools to do so. His fortune came to him rather than him having to go dig it up. It was also he who became a millionaire as a result, not the miners. Old Samuel was a bit of a price gouger, though, and I don't really agree with him there. But we're going to discuss some real-world, modern-day ways to use the same concept this brilliant man pioneered, so stay tuned.
This episode is sponsored by Amazon Warehouse Deals. Why pay full price when you can get great deals on open box and pre-owned high-end items? The Candid Cashflow Podcast is in the market for a new computer. And if you are as well, check out what Amazon has to offer at heyoava.com/warehouse deals.
In 2015, I started following a few marketers who were cashing in on the self-publishing craze. They weren't writing the books, though, and I was appalled. I made my first few dollars online writing articles in 2006. At that point in 2015, I had 2 or 3 self-published titles myself, and I never considered that someone might hire ghostwriters to pen all of their books and never write a word themselves. But hey, who was I to ask questions? These guys claimed to be making upwards of $10,000 per month. I didn't want to debunk them, I wanted to be them. Even so, there was no way I was going to pay someone else to write for me. I mean, that was my shtick. I didn't need to outsource it. These marketers' next steps were pretty much identical, and I lost interest in their way of doing things. They went on to charge for coaching and develop courses in self-publishing, and none of them are publishing now. However, don't miss the point here. It's not my astonishment at their tactics. It's that they came into an industry, dabbled in it, created tools around it, and then moved on to the next thing. They sold shovels. I have never reached that $10K per month level in self-publishing myself, but I currently work as a virtual assistant to several self-publishers who are still in the game. I sell shovels, as do my clients. This idea provides 3 opportunities to focus on tools. 1, you can provide tools to the consumers. 2, you can provide tools to the providers. Or 3, you can provide tools to both. If you really want to blow it out of the water, provide a tool that is needed by more than one industry. FreshBooks is a great example of that, or even a social media network like Instagram. So the burning question is, how do you sell shovels in this day and age? It's simple. Develop a business or tool that a lot of businesses can use, or focus in one industry and create numerous tools and services that make life easier for businesses in that industry. You can even bring it all the way back to the basics when you're considering a product or service. Focus on things that answer questions and or solve problems. Let's turn this into some actionable steps. Step 1, choose an industry, or niche if you prefer. As always, you've got to figure out where to aim your genius first. Whether you're going for an industry that is kind of a one-trick pony, or you're going for multiple industries, this is where you must start. Step 2, what's your shovel? You must have some rough idea of what you want to offer, right? If you don't, it's time to figure out what your shovel is. You want this to be a well-developed idea, so spend some time on it. Don't reinvent the wheel. Step 3, do you need funding? Unless you're independently wealthy or you can single-handedly create your shovel yourself, you're going to need capital to get started. Put your business skills to work here, deciding if you want to attract investors or if you want to try your hand at crowdfunding. Step 4, research and develop. This is where you put together your game plan and you start making your idea tangible. This could culminate in everything from digital products to prototypes. This is always where you put together everything you need to get your idea into the hands of your target audience. Step 5, test it. It's time to test your concept in the marketplace. Release your darling to your target audience and ask for feedback. Understand that this will probably be one of the most stressful steps of the entire process because it's here where you find out if your idea flies or dies. Step 6, improve your shovel. Take the feedback from your audience and repeat step 4. Make your product or service the best it can possibly be. Step 7, officially launch. Set your darling free. Be prepared to be in a constant state of improvement and expect that you will need to pivot as time and technology change. I hope you hit the big time. Perhaps I'll find myself using your shovel someday. I've had this quote, the one about don't mine for gold when you can sell shovels, on a post-it at my desk for several months now, and I always feel a little spark when I read it. When I think about the things I want to do online and how I want to expand my work and business, I keep in mind that I sell shovels. I sell shovels because it's just smart. I may never be an expert internet marketer or a self-publisher earning $10,000 a month, but one of these days I might just find the right shovel. That's going to do it for this episode. I'm so glad that you stopped by to listen. I hope you will consider subscribing to the Candid Cashflow Podcast. You can do so in your favorite app at heyoava.com/candidcashflow. I didn't push the show notes at all in this episode because I don't have as many links and goodies as I usually do, but you can grab a copy to take on the go at heyoava.com/episode 30. At this point, I've done shows that cover all kinds of things from t-shirt designing to podcasting to being a virtual assistant. Really, and so much more than that. Check out the archives at heyoava.com/candidarchives. You can actually grab the show notes from the first 10 episodes all compiled into one PDF by visiting heyoava.com/first10. I release a new episode each Wednesday. Until next time, turning your passion into cash flow.